Now, what about the sources of contaminants? The filter, we know that we are using it because there is a chance of having some unwanted particles. Question is from where the particles are coming. First one is particles originally contained in the system. So what are the examples of this? Yeah, one of the particles we will say that it is a building spatter. Usually most of the hydraulic systems, what we are doing is we are building by fabrication. So we are creating the structure, and if you are not making proper precautionary arrangements, then what happens is all the welding spatter or sometimes even bolts and nuts, small bolts, nuts, screws will be falling into the pipes or into the pump or into the reservoir. And from there is a chance that they will be circulated in the system, damaging the pipes and every other element present in the hydraulic system. So these are the particles which are present in the beginning. You are not adding them afterwards. So while you are assembling the hydraulic pump, for example, you have not taken care to remove all the foreign particles, maybe dust particles or maybe some broken pieces of paper or something else. It is there in the pump only. Then when you are connecting it to a hydraulic system, these foreign particles are going to mix with the fluid and they will be there continuously in the operation, creating more and more damage. That is initially contained in the system. Now particles introduced from outside sources. Usually they can be dust particles, they can be what you can say your moisture which can be present. So these are some of the elements which are introduced from outside sources. Next one is particles created within the system during operation. These are mainly the wear and tear particles. So we know that even though we say that hydraulic fluid is a good lubricant, it will reduce the wear and other things. Whenever there are having more amount of wear and tear particles are created, all these particles are a sources of contamination. Next one is particles introduced by foreign liquids. Now foreign liquids there are a couple of foreign. One is the oxidation byproducts. We can say that they are also, if it is a liquid, then it is a introduced by foreign liquid. If you are having some solid particles created because of oxidation or something, then we will say that these are the particles created within the system during operation. So if you are having some liquid byproducts, then they may be corroding the system, which in turn creates more contaminants. Or the biggest part of foreign liquids that can create contamination is a different kind of hydraulic liquid. For example, you want to put some kind of hydraulic fluid grade A or type HH. Instead of type HH, you are using type HL, which is having a completely different properties. And you have mixed it in the hydraulic fluid. Then it will not be considered as a hydraulic fluid, it will be considered as a contaminant. And if you have added a very highly corrosive hydraulic fluid, then the entire elements may go into get damaged. So you have to empty the reservoir, you have to clean all the elements, and then you have to replenish the oil. So you have to be very careful whenever you are adding the hydraulic fluid. So particles introduced by foreign liquids means whenever you are adding some additional liquids, they should be of proper specification. They should also be clean. So if you are trying to replenish the lost oil into the reservoir, if that oil is having lot of contaminants, then that also will create more problems. And the additives, whatever are present in the hydraulic fluid and the new oil, what you are adding, they should not have any adverse reactions. Sometimes the exact grade of the hydraulic fluid may not be available. So what will you do? You are going to select the nearest fluid which is having the nearest properties. So when you are selecting such a fluid for operation, then you have to make sure that whatever the additives are there in the hydraulic fluids, they are not going to react with one another or they are not going to cause any other problems. So if you are not taking care of all this, if you are adding some new foreign liquid into the system, then it will start the reactions and more contaminants and the damage will be caused to the system. So these are the sources of contamination. So for which we are using the filtration elements to make sure that the hydraulic fluid is clean. Now the more worrying of all the contaminants is the solid contaminants. So solid contaminants, what they will do? So you can have three types of solid contaminants with respect to the filtration element present. For example, you are having a filtration element or a pipe which is present in the hydraulic system. Now you can have a contaminant which is larger than the flow path available. So for example, you are having a filtration element and whatever the yellow path you are seeing here, that is a flow path available, or it may be a opening in a wall, that may also be possible. So you are having a flow path and you are having a contaminant of size type C, which means the particle is larger than the available flow path. That is type C. Now type B is some dimension of the particle is equal to the size of the flow path. So you can see here some dimension here. The thickness is very, very small, but the length of this particular particle is equal to the size of the flow path. Then type A, you are having the particles whose size is very, very small as compared to the flow path available. Now, what do each of these three types of sizes have the effects? So, first one is we will understand the type C because that is the easiest one. So, if you are having type C solid contaminant, then it is simply going to sit on top of the opening here and it will not allow the flow to take place. Now, these are very easier. So, we know that some flow is not happening, which means we can open that element and we can see the large particles present. We may simply remove it, or maybe using some pressure, we may be very quickly remove this particular type of contaminants. But these are very dangerous. If you are having some moving element over here, then it will cause more damage. Type C, it may get crushed and it may become type B and type A. That is also possible. Next one is type A. Type A is like your silt or very, very fine particles. Now, one particle will not create any problem. It may pass through the entire system without any issues. But if one particle is sticking to some surface over here, then what happens is, as you are continuously operating the system, more and more particles are going to be joining it. So one particle you are having, after some time you are having 3 particles, then you are having 5 particles, then more and more. And finally, at some point of time, the entire path is going to be blocked. So detecting this blockage will become very, very difficult because sometimes some of the regions it is not possible to visually see, or it may not be able to clean also. Whatever the contamination is there, it may not be possible to clean this particular contaminant. So you have to be very careful about the type A. They are more dangerous because they are not going to create problem instantaneously. Over a period of time, they are simply going to block the entire path. Now, if you are having this particle between 2 moving elements, then usually the buildup will not take place because of the moving nature of the elements. The particles will be continuously in motion. So usually this buildup will take place in some valve openings or some small holes which are present. So usually the particles will get stuck and over a period of time it will be completely blocking it. The next one is type B here. Type B means some dimension of the particle will be equal to the opening. So if it is getting stuck in this direction, then it is completely blocking the flow path. So there will be some small gap from the sides of the particle and the flow path through which the fluid can continue to flow. Now if you are having 2 relatively moving elements, then what happens is if these particles are there, they may cause more wear and tear. They may cause more wear and tear and rubbing action. So because of it, you will be having loss of material. So type C may get crushed between the 2 moving elements and it may form type B and a type A. Type A may accumulate over a period of time and it will completely block the flow path. Cleaning the system is very difficult and avoiding type A is also very, very difficult because if you want to avoid type A contaminants, then you require a hydraulic filter which is having very, very fine mesh. Now, when you are having a very fine mesh and you want to pass the hydraulic fluid through the filter, then what happens is you require a lot of pressure, which means there is going to be a lot of pressure drop across the filter. So if the pressure drop is more, then supply side pressure should be higher, which means your pump should be having higher capacity. Then your electrical motor should be also having higher power rating to make sure that the fluid is passing through the filtration elements. So you have to always make sure that type A kind of contaminants are minimized. Then type B and type C you have to avoid by using some filters of appropriate sizes. So you have to select what is the kind of filter required, how many kinds of each of the type of filter required, where exactly to place them so that maximum amount of contaminants are removed with the very least amount of pressure drop, because pressure drop in filters is one of a big issue with respect to their performance. The next type of contaminants is the gases which are present in the hydraulic fluid. So the gases can be present in 3 types. One is free air, other one is entrained gas, and the third one is dissolved air. Now what is this free air? So free air means if you are not filling the hydraulic fluid in a proper fashion, if you are having lot of air pockets in the hydraulic fluid, then you will be having the free air which is present inside. you are twisting and bending the pipe in some particular direction, or if there is some leakage in the openings, leakages and other things, then there will be the air which will be trapped inside. Or if you are opening some valve or something and you are not ensuring that it is properly filled, and then only you have to close it. So you have not taken sufficient precautions in properly filling the different elements, then there is a chance of having the free air. Now this free air by itself will not create any problem, but it will make sure that whenever you are having free air and you are operating the hydraulic fluid, whatever the air is present, it will be taken to different locations. Now we can understand this by understanding the air which is present in the garden hoses. So if you have seen the garden hoses, if you are having one large bubble, then the entire pipe will be having this bubble. So it will be moving along with the water. So this is a very common phenomenon. So it will be carried to all the locations, and over a period of time, the entire hydraulic fluid will be having lot of bubbles. So because the bubbles are there, more and more bubbles are there, it will become more springy in nature. The system's response is going to be different. So you want the movement to take place, say 5 millimeter, and you are trying to supply the fluid. It is not happening. Only 4 millimeter movement has taken place. Or you want to try to apply some small amount of force, but you are trying to supply the fluid, but whatever the pressure you are generating, that is being absorbed by the air which is present, and you are not getting the required kind of movement. So that is the problem associated with the free air. Next one is entrained gas. The entrained gas is whenever the pressure in the hydraulic system is going to drop below the vapor pressure of the hydraulic fluid. So every fluid will have the vapor pressure. If the vapor pressure drops below the particular value, then what happens is the hydraulic fluid will, from liquid state, it will directly go into the gaseous state. So this gas, it will be absorbed back, and it will be carried as some kind of bubbles. So again, you are having a gas which is present in the hydraulic fluid, then it will create more problems, just like the free air. So entrained gas is the system pressure has dropped below the vapor pressure, and the vapor pressure has ensured, the lower pressure has ensured that the hydraulic liquid will form gas. This gas will form a bubble, and this bubble is going in the system, which will create more problems. Next one is dissolved air. Every fluid will be absorbed, will be having some amount of dissolved air or dissolved gases. Now these gases will again form bubbles, and when they are flowing in the system, in high pressure regions, their temperature is going to increase, and they may create oxidation, or this air can readily react with oxygen molecules which are present in some form, and they may create oxidation byproducts. If there is some moisture present in the air, then it will create the rusting, or we can say that it is corroding the parts which is present in the hydraulic system. So we don't want any liquid, we don't want any gases, we don't want any kind of solids in the hydraulic system. We want only 100% hydraulic fluids. But having such a clean fluid is theoretically not possible. There is always going to be some amount of contamination. So we have to make sure that we are eliminating as much of contaminants as possible, so that the system is operating in a smooth fashion.